94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
Thank you to the Columbia Fireflies and all of our friends at Segra Communications for providing tickets for this week's featured soldier. I'm your host, United States Marine Corps veteran Ethan Stitch Gardner, and on today's Soldier Salute, I have United States Marine Corps veteran and owner of Lexington Guns and Shooting Range, Chris Koufos. Chris, it seems like every interviewer I have over the last 2 months is from the Boston area. What are you doing all the way down here?
Came here to get away from the cold winters and to really enjoy the tax breaks that I get.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It seems like every other person that I run into is from the north. Give us a little bit of your backstory. What town are you originally from? What led you all the way down here?
So I was born in Roxbury, Massachusetts. I was raised in a few different towns, but mainly out of Weymouth, Massachusetts, which is south of Boston. I was at a point in my career up there where I kind of was stagnant, so I chose to pursue a life of freedom down in South Carolina.
Well, Massachusetts is one of the founding states of America. What up there is so lacking in freedom that you find down here?
Well, by trade, I work in a gun store. It's not necessarily a well-liked topic in Massachusetts, so I wanted to pursue my dreams down in a free state such as South Carolina. And, I was familiar with the state because that's where I went to boot camp, and it's gorgeous here.
So you're a graduate of Parris Island. I'm as well a graduate of Parris Island. You notice the flies coming out. It makes you kind of get a little reminder of the sand fleas at Parris Island.
It toughens you up quite a bit, absolutely.
So, Chris, you came down from Massachusetts, just like the other 900 of you here in South Carolina. Everything's going well, very relaxing place. Tell us the story about how you came to own your business, Lexington Guns and Shooting Range.
So I was relatively new to the area, and I had just recently went to a different gun store and had a couple firearms purchased there and wanted a place to go shoot. So I was just kind of driving around aimlessly, and I happened upon Lexington Guns and Shooting Range. So I went in there and went to go shoot, and after I was done shooting, they saw that my choice in firearms was impeccable. So they started talking to me, kind of asking me what I'd been doing and what my experience was with firearms. So then from there, they offered me a job, basically working 5 hours a week, sweeping the range. And I wasn't really looking for a job at the time. I was just kind of in chill mode, so I decided, why not? Give me something to do, maybe make some friends. Started out sweeping the range, and they found out I was, a little bit knowledgeable about guns. Got promoted to sales floor, and then from there, my excellent work ethic got me to where I was brought up to assistant manager.
It's that Marine work ethic.
Absolutely learned at Parris Island. And, went on to become the manager, and the previous owners found it was their time to kind of step away and let some, new life be taken into the store in different directions. So that's when I was given the opportunity to take over as the new owner of Lexington Guns and Shooting Range in 2017.
If you'd like to hear more on this awesome veteran-owned business, you can follow Lexington Guns and Shooting Range on Facebook or visit them at www.lexguns.com. So, Chris, you came down to South Carolina. You love all of our firearm laws and how we're very firearm friendly. How's business going at Lexington Guns and Shooting Range?
Business is going really well. We are a climate-controlled, 9-lane indoor shooting range. We do pistols, rifles, shotguns. We offer one-on-one classes from everything from intro to firearms to concealed weapons permits. We are a Class 3 dealer, so we can do silencers, which, yes, are legal, and everything in between. It's just doing really well with the election impending, of course. Everyone wants to snatch up everything we have, which makes us extremely busy, but we always have lanes open at the store.
You talked about giving private firearm classes. I find a lot of people have struggles finding the appropriate firearm that they want for their concealed carry. How do you guys go about finding that appropriate firearm for that individual?
So we have a wide array of rentals, and the rentals that we do have basically cover your standard firearm in which you would carry on your person if you were to do so. We also have a wide selection for sale, so you can handle any firearm you want. Touching is free, and we are a zero pressure kind of store, so our main goal is to get you what you need to carry and not just sell you anything that we have.
So you run a veteran-owned and operated store. Are there any other veterans besides yourself that work for you?
One of the other main employees there, Mike, he is an Army veteran, and he does all of our gunsmithing and sighting in of your hunting rifles and everything that you need to get ready for this hunting season coming up here shortly.
Chris, not only do you have a veteran-owned and operated business with other veterans working there as well, but you also go out in the community and actually do a lot of work alongside other veteran nonprofit organizations.
Yes. benefits. I truly believe in giving back to the community, and even though it was up in Massachusetts, when I was fresh out of the military, it was the local community who reached out and helped me get into a better spot. When I'm now in a position to where I can do that when I'm outside of the store and kind of abuse my rights in the store and kind of help out the local veteran community as well. So I volunteer my time with a couple different organizations. Range 214 is a very good, solid local organization run by Billy Britt.
Billy Britt.
Lexington owned. You know, he's the king of Lexington, basically.
What's up, Billy?
He is probably one of the hardest working people I've ever seen in my life, who dedicates his entire life to helping out veterans, which led us to meeting up and kind of working with the Big Red Barn Retreat to help bring the Warrior Path to South Carolina.
Sutton Shaw over there at the Big Red Barn Retreat, she's teamed up at Range 214, and they're going to do some amazing things with the Warrior Path program. Have you been out to the facility out there in Blythewood?
Yes, I was there for the groundbreaking, where they started ripping out the trees to build the facility that is going to essentially cure 80% at least of the veterans in this state and the surrounding areas who are suffering from post-traumatic stress. It's absolutely phenomenal what they're going to be doing up there.
Chris, through all your hard work in the community and all of your hard work with other veteran nonprofit organizations, you got the opportunity to meet Sean Roby, the founder of the Freedom and Hope Foundation, one of my favorite nonprofits in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah, so I got a call one day by a gentleman named Sean Roby, who was looking for assistance with getting some firearms transferred, and he said that he was a disabled veteran and was looking for a gun store that would help other nonprofits in the area, and I said absolutely. So he came in, we talked a little bit, and we donated a bunch of stuff to one of his events that they were doing, and we've become pretty tight ever since. Sean Roby's a great guy and does a lot of selfless things in this community.
Yeah, I had the absolute honor and privilege about 3 weeks ago of having Waco Cotney on the Soldier Salute, the Vietnam veteran with 2 Bronze Stars and the Purple Heart. The whole Cotney family, I understand, helps a lot with the Freedom and Hope Foundation as well.
Yes, they do. When they came in to present the winners of the firearms from that event, we were able to meet everybody involved with that organization. It's all really solid people who, again, want to just enrich the community and help out all veterans who live in South Carolina.
Chris, I spent a lot of time on the radio talking about nonprofits for veterans. Why don't you tell the listeners why you think we need so many nonprofit organizations for the veteran community?
The reason nonprofits are so important is because you are getting people within your own community. These are your neighbors, your family, acquaintances who are going to stick their neck out and take out time from their very busy schedule and very busy lives to help out people that they genuinely care about, because they know that the systems in place from the VA and the government just are falling on their face, and there's no amount of laws or funding or lack thereof that would actually do anything to help out your neighbors. So why not yourself just help out people within your own community?
For more on the Freedom and Hope Foundation, you can go online to www.freedomandhopefoundation.com. Chris, you served in the United States Marine Corps from 2002 to 2006. Tell the listeners a little bit about your service, what you did, how it was.
So I joined the United States Marine Corps essentially immediately after September 11th, and I just felt like I needed to do something, and walking into the Marine Corps recruiting office seemed like that was the thing for me to do, so I did. And I signed up to become active duty infantry, and I was lucky enough to be selected to be a machine gunner. I was with 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines out of the 2nd Marine Division for my duration of my military career. I deployed to Iraq 3 times. I was there in 2003 for the invasion. I was there in 04 to 05 for the first elections in the Fallujah push, and I was also there again in 05 to 06 out of HIT, Iraq. And then on the way home, we popped off into Somalia and Djibouti for the whole pirate deal. So it was kind of an interesting career.
You're a veteran of one of the most famous battles of the Iraq War, the Battle of An-Naziriyah. Not a whole lot of people know what that city is supposed to be.
So, if you know some ancient history, I guess, you would say that it's the Garden of Eden. So it was not really something we knew at the time, obviously, because we were busy doing our jobs there. After the fact, when we talked to some historians talked to us, they wrote a couple books about it, and it was kind of bizarre that we were there having a pretty sizable battle in the Garden of Eden. And I believe it was my third tour in Iraq. We ended up going back through there, and I was able to see the city again from a different light as far as the historical side and kind of take it into, look at the historical parts of being the fact that was the Garden of Eden.
Chris, let's talk family. You got a ton of munchkins running around. You've got a little newborn baby Damien sitting here in the studio with us, another one on the way, Jackson, Olivia. Huge family. What's next, man? You expecting more?
Well, I typically don't like to hire employees. I'd rather have my own kids. So this is just a lot easier for me. Instead of doing applications, I know everything about them from the day they were born. So I can raise them into being fit employees for the gun store.
So if a customer walks into Lexington Guns and Shooting Range, they can expect to see adorable little babies hanging out around the store?
We're a gun store and a daycare, essentially. No matter where you turn, you'll see a toddler or a young child more than willing to assist you in any way you need to, get anything you need to hunt or defend your family.
So you're a family-friendly shooting range, you're a veteran-owned shooting range. What's the age limit that you got to be to get in there and start sending some rounds downrange?
So the youngest that we allow on the range accompanied by an adult is 10 years old. And if you want to come in on your own and you want to rent any sort of firearm, to rent a long gun you have to be 18, to rent a handgun you have to be 21.
I also heard that Lexington Guns and Shooting Range started doing what's called outlaw competition shooting matches. How's that going?
So once a month we do outlaw US PSA matches, which essentially is the really cool stuff you see on YouTube where you get to run around and shoot, reload, and get some cover behind barriers and things like that to essentially get you some, lack of a better term, real-world training on a dynamic platform. So you can kind of run around and be John Wick for a little bit.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pig's Barbecue. Serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. And by Lexington Guns and Shooting Range, veteran-owned and operated. And by Franklin Equipment. Rent, buy, rely. And Atkins Law Firm Workers' Comp Attorneys. Who you hire matters.